They texted you. Maybe it was just, hey. Maybe it was a long paragraph. Maybe it was something that brought back every memory you've tried so hard to bury. And now your heart's racing. Your hands hover over the keyboard. But before you type anything, I need you to hear this. Because this moment right here, this one message, can either pull you back into chaos or push you further into the healing you fought for. Let's be real. That text isn't just a message. It's a test. A test of your growth, your boundaries, your emotional control. And deep down, you already know that. You know what it took to get to this place. The nights you cried, the versions of yourself you had to bury, the strength you had to rebuild in silence. And now they show up like nothing ever happened. This isn't about ignoring them out of pride. This is about protecting the version of you that finally chose peace over pain. Psychologists call this the trauma reactivation loop. It's when someone who hurt you reappears and your nervous system lights up, craving answers, closure, or connection. But here's what they don't tell you. You don't need closure from the person who broke you. You need boundaries that protect your healing. And this is where your power begins. Not in replying, not in proving anything, but in pausing, in thinking before reacting, in choosing silence when silence is the strongest language you can speak. As Marcus Aurelius once said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. That applies to responses too. Not every message deserves your energy. Not every text is a door you need to open. So, in this video, we're diving into 7 critical reasons why you should pause before replying to that message. We'll talk about psychology, real-life healing, Stoic philosophy, and the truth behind why they reached out now, and what you should do instead. Because your response isn't just about them. It's about the life you're building without them. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My peace matters more than their text. Let's get into it. Number 1, they're not texting you for you. They're texting you for themselves. Let's be honest. If they really cared about you, they would have shown it when it mattered. Not now. Not after you've gone silent. Not after you've started to move on. The moment they see you're no longer accessible, no longer orbiting their world, they panic. That text you received, it's not love. It's ego. It's a craving for control. It's a desperate reach for the attention you once gave so freely. You see, when someone has taken your love for granted, they don't miss you. They miss what they could get from you. They miss the validation, the comfort, the emotional supply. And now that it's gone, their message isn't a check-in on your soul. It's a check-in on their own insecurity. Psychologists call this a narcissistic injury. When a person feels the loss of admiration or attention they've gotten used to, and they reach out not out of love, but to restore their ego. But you're in a different place now. You've started healing. You've started recognizing your worth. That text they sent, it's not an apology. It's bait. And if you're not careful, you'll bite, thinking it means something deeper. But don't forget how they made you feel when you needed them the most. Don't forget the silence they gave you when your heart was screaming for answers. This is your test. The moment you recognize that someone's message is not about rebuilding love but reestablishing control, you win. Because now your silence isn't just ignoring them. It's protecting the healed version of you. It's the power move they never saw coming. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Their message? Out of your control. Your reaction? That's your power. Number 2, they want access to the old you. When they hit send, they weren't texting the person you are now. They were reaching out to the version of you who tolerated being put last, the one who kept forgiving broken promises, the one who stayed up at night wondering why love always felt like begging. But that version doesn't live here anymore. You've outgrown the patterns that once kept you stuck. You've stopped explaining your worth to people who never saw it. You finally realized that healing isn't about winning someone back. It's about winning yourself back. They don't miss the real you. They miss the one who needed them, the one they could ignore and still expect to be around. But now you've learned how to pour that energy into yourself. You're not trying to fix things with someone who broke you. You're rebuilding you, and that makes you unrecognizable to them. This is called an identity shift. Psychologically, when we go through deep emotional pain and grow through it, instead of running from it, our brain rewires, our boundaries sharpen, our self-worth hardens, and suddenly, things we once accepted start to feel heavy because they no longer fit the healed version of who we're becoming. That text they sent, it wasn't meant for the stronger, clearer, more peaceful you. It was meant for the you who would have replied in seconds, hoping, praying, negotiating for love. But that chapter is closed, and when they realize they no longer have access to the version of you who made it easy for them, it shakes them. Your silence says, "I've evolved." And that's what stings the most. Because people who only valued you when you needed them don't know what to do when you stop needing them altogether. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. And your thoughts now? They're painted with self-respect, peace, and wisdom, not desperation. So I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. The old me is gone. I don't shrink back, I rise. Let them text the past, but don't invite it into your future. Number 3. The text isn't about you. It's about their ego needing validation. Let's be honest, if they truly valued you, they wouldn't have waited until you walked away to remember your worth. That message they just sent, it's not coming from a place of love. It's coming from a bruised ego. They're not reaching out to reconnect with your soul. They're reaching out because your silence made them feel forgotten. And some people can't stand to be forgotten by someone they thought would never stop caring. This is what psychologists call a narcissistic injury. It happens when someone who used to feel in control suddenly loses the emotional upper hand. Your lack of response? It's not just silence. It's a mirror, a reflection showing them that the game they used to play no longer works. And the moment they realize they don't have that power over you anymore, they panic. You see, some people don't want a relationship. They want reassurance. Reassurance that you still care, that you're still emotionally available, that they still have a place in your heart, even if they didn't earn it. So they send a simple, "Hey," or "I was just thinking about you," hoping you'll open the door. But the real question is, why now? Why only after you stopped chasing? Because it was never about losing you. It was about losing their reflection in your admiration. And now that you've stopped feeding their ego, they feel invisible. And invisibility is a terrifying thing for someone who thrives on attention without giving commitment. Don't fall into the trap of mistaking ego-based outreach for genuine love. Love respects you in your presence. Ego only chases you in your absence. Your silence isn't cruel, it's clarity. It's the line that says, "I no longer entertain what disrupts my peace." As Epictetus said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, Realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Provocation. But you're no longer complicit. You're no longer reactive. You've risen above the need to explain yourself to someone who never listened the first time. Let them wrestle with the silence they created. You're not here to feed an ego. You're here to protect your peace. Number 4, they want the old you back. When they text you now, they're not reaching out to meet the new you. They're reaching back, hoping to find the old version of you. The version that tolerated breadcrumbs, that explained themselves, that kept showing up even when they stopped appreciating your presence. But here's the truth. They're texting a ghost. Because that version of you, it died in the silence. They're not in love with the person you've become. They're in love with the power they had over who you used to be. And that's the painful part. They don't want growth. They want familiarity. They want the comfort of your forgiveness, the reassurance of your availability, the softness of your love, without the responsibility of treating it right. But you've changed. You've healed. You've stared at your own broken heart in the mirror and said, "Never again." You've rebuilt your self-worth not on their attention, but on your own value. And that kind of transformation makes you unrecognizable to the person who thought you'd always stay the same. This is what happens when silence is used for reflection, not revenge. You didn't go quiet to hurt them. You went silent to hear yourself, to unlearn what love is not, to rise without dragging the weight of people who didn't know how to hold your heart. Now they're trying to re-enter with an "I miss you," or "I've been thinking." But what they're missing is the person who would have replied in a heartbeat. The one who placed their needs above your boundaries. The one who feared losing them more than losing yourself. That person's gone. And they're mourning the control they had, not the connection they lost. This is your moment of power. Not to hurt them, not to win, but to realize that you don't have to prove your growth to someone who only appreciated your worth when it was gone. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one." You're living proof of that now. Let them text the past. You're not going back there. You're too busy building a future that honors your peace. Number 5. They're not reaching out to reconnect. Let's be honest. When someone who let you go suddenly texts you, it's not always about love. It's often about power. It's about testing the waters. It's about seeing if you're still emotionally available. They want to know if you're still that person who would drop everything the moment their name pops up. But now you're not. This kind of message doesn't mean they've changed. It doesn't mean they've reflected on how they hurt you or suddenly understand your value. Most times it's about checking if the door is still open. And if you answer too quickly, too eagerly, you silently tell them nothing's changed. You're still here, still waiting, still hoping. And that's the exact power they're looking for. But here's what you've learned in the silence. You don't need to keep proving your worth to someone who couldn't see it the first time. You don't need to educate someone on how to treat a heart that loved them deeply. You're no longer that version of yourself who mistook crumbs for love. You've upgraded, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. This moment, when that message shows up on your phone, is a test of everything you've learned in your healing. Do you respond to soothe the ego of someone who never fought for you? Or do you honor your silence and let your growth speak louder than words ever could? They're not texting because they miss you. They're texting because they miss the control they had over you, the reassurance, the chase. But the healed version of you doesn't need to chase anymore. You choose peace over chaos, clarity over confusion. love that shows up without manipulation. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. That message you just got? That's their way of trying to pull you back into their control. Don't fall for it. Let them wonder. Let them question. Let them sit in the discomfort of losing someone who finally chose themselves. Number 6. The old you would have replied, "But you're not that person anymore." There was a time when their texts made your heart race, when you drop everything just to respond, hoping this time it would be different. You wanted connection, closure, clarity. But all you ever got was confusion and emotional exhaustion. You were constantly trying to decode mixed signals, fill in the blanks, and prove you were enough for someone who only gave you half their heart. But that version of you? They don't exist anymore. You've evolved, grown, built boundaries. You've walked through the pain, not around it. And that pain shaped a stronger, wiser, more self-respecting version of you. You no longer see their message as a sign of hope. You see it for what it is, a ghost from the past trying to haunt your peace. Psychologists call this an identity shift. It's what happens when you stop reacting from your old emotional wounds and start responding from a place of self-awareness. That's why the same message that once made you spiral now just makes you pause and smile. Because you finally see through it. You finally value your peace over the temporary high of being noticed. This is growth in action. This is healing without needing validation. And this is what scares them the most. Not that you're angry, not that you've moved on, but that you've truly changed, that you've become someone who doesn't need them anymore. They may still know your number, but they don't know the person who holds that phone now. And that's the real loss. Because the old you would have replied, the healed you doesn't need to. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And now your thoughts are calm, focused, powerful, unshaken. Don't respond for nostalgia. Don't respond for the past. Respond only to protect your peace. And sometimes, the most powerful response is no response at all. Number 7. Your silence isn't a game. It's growth. They might think you're ignoring them to make a point, that you're playing hard to get, that your silence is some kind of mind game. But it's not. It's not revenge. It's not strategy. It's evolution. Because there comes a point in your healing journey when peace becomes louder than chaos. When you realize that not everything needs your reaction, not every message deserves your energy, and not every person is meant to stay in your life just because they reach out. You've stopped trying to prove your worth. You've stopped needing someone to get it. You don't need closure from the same hands that broke you. And you don't need temporary attention from someone who couldn't handle your permanent love. They texted you, but they don't realize that while they were busy playing silent treatment to gain power, you were building silence into your strength. And here's the truth. Most people won't admit. When you stop engaging, they lose the version of you that always said yes, the version that forgave too quickly. That settled for crumbs. That confused being available with being valued. That's the version they're really texting for. But it's gone now. Replaced by someone who understands their value and honors their boundaries. This silence, it's not an empty space. It's full of lessons, full of strength, full of clarity. And most importantly, it's full of you. So if they try to bait you with, "I miss you," remember what it cost you to miss yourself. If they try to guilt you with, "I thought you cared," remember how long you cared while they didn't. And if they try to lure you in with nostalgia, Remember, healing is forward, not backward. You're not being cold. You're being clear. You're not avoiding them. You're choosing you. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. And this is you finally letting go of what you never had control over. Because now they see it, they feel it. The silence that used to hurt you now echoes in their world. So here you are, stronger, wiser, quieter. But not because you've shut down. Nah, you've woken up. You've realized that not every message deserves a reply. Not every hand that reaches out is offering love. And not every person who texts you back is worth inviting into the new version of your life. They texted you hoping to find the old you, the one who waited, the one who tolerated, the one who would have dropped everything to answer. But that version doesn't live here anymore. You've changed. You've evolved. You've finally understood that your peace is priceless, your energy is sacred, and your attention is earned, not owed. And yes, silence is uncomfortable. But silence is also sacred. It's in the silence that you heal. It's in the silence that you grow. And it's in the silence that they finally feel the consequences of losing someone who loved them deeply and purely. This isn't about ghosting. This isn't about playing games. This is about protecting your space, your heart, and your future. So when that text pops up on your screen, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, does this message serve the healed version of me? If the answer is no, then your silence is your answer. Because sometimes, the strongest response isn't rage, revenge, or explanation. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is nothing at all. Before you go, I want you to do 3 things. Drop this affirmation in the comments right now. My silence speaks louder than their words. Share this video with someone who's struggling to move on and needs to reclaim their power. Hit that subscribe button because this channel is for anyone rising from heartbreak with strength, clarity, and a whole new level of self-worth. You're not alone. You're leveling up, and we're doing it together. They texted you. But your silence? It says everything they were never ready to hear.